Welcome back to Satisfactory. So, as I mentioned in the previous episode, where we are working on the Turbofuel, I needed to build a belt from the compacted coal array that we have here. And while it may not be the most elegant solution, I had to do some hacks to get around that pipeline. Let's go have a look at that. I might clean it up later on, but for now I'm content with just leaving it as is. It's underneath the base and it's kind of out of the way anyways, so it's not really a big hassle. But yeah, I had to build an additional conveyor tower there and an additional conveyor tower there, and I had to kind of funnel it in above the pipe. Of course, this can be fixed quite easily by moving the pipe up one and the belt down one, but that would require me to go all the way back to the refinery and move the belt all the way and then the pipe all the way, and that's a bit wasteful in terms of usage of time currently, shall we say. So for now, let's just have it with this not completely elegant solution. I got it down there. That also isn't ideal because you can't build a lift at the correct step above a pipe. So there's a small bend there, but it's okay. It's perfectly okay, actually. I don't think I need much else going out here anyways. So I had a couple of comments that I haven't had the chance to respond to yet. One of the comments were that each of the steps here is of course 2 meters. So if I build a regular conveyor pole, that is at 1 meter or maybe a half meter. And then that is 2 meter and that is 4 meter. And that is apparent by a regular foundation. Because if this one is 1 meter, then, come on, if I build a conveyor pole there, that should be the exact same height as the second. I don't know if you could call that a conveyor pole, probably, even though it's a conveyor pole entrance exit thingy. So that means that the elevators, they have their steps in half meters. So that's 0.5 meters, 1 meter, 1.5 meter, 2 meters, and so forth. So that's an interesting thing that I haven't even considered, but that might actually also be helpful when it comes to measuring things like pipeline heights and pumps and stuff like that. Because by that logic, we can, for instance, look at this pipe over here, and since I have that pipe up there, if the entrance there is on level, which it is, with this conveyor pole, then that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 meters, which means that a pump is necessary if you go up by 6 poles, which is what I've done here. So if I had gone up by 5 poles, a pump would not have been necessary. But I found that to be a very useful tip, actually. So I don't know why I haven't thought about that before, but thank you. Let's see. There was... Oh, I probably have responded to the comment, so I'm not really sure who it was currently. Well, I do apologize for that. I would like to give a personal thank you, but when that isn't possible, since I can't find the comment, that's how it is. If I remember later on, I will mention it then. Now, the other tip was from Andy Brown, who says that for his fuel plants, tends to use the unwanted resin to make into plastic and empty bottles, which are then fed into the loop with a smart splitter, ready to bleed excess off into a resource muncher. That's an awesome sink. Can take a wee bit of time getting up to capacity, but it saves having to make enough bottles to saturate a line rather than a stack to seed the line. And that is definitely also a very good tip, where instead of having this thing, which I don't think I have to put, well, yes, actually I do have to put more empty canisters in here, since this is now at empty. Depends on how many are inside of these when we start powering them up. I might actually have to fill it up twice. But that is a good tip, because if you do that little additional work, it doesn't really matter, since you're using a sink to funnel off any excess canisters. So when it comes to a point where you don't need the canisters in the loop anymore, everything will just go into the sink. So there's an alternative way to do that, which means that you don't have to make the empty canisters manually, the way that I showed at the end of the last episode. But I do have the compacted coal here. It's on level 3 here. I went up and down a bit. It's going above the hypertube over there, but I didn't see the need to having it up all the way on level 7 just to take it down to level 1. I think I built one of the conveyor pole stacks over there wrong, because that definitely looks like a bend. But I will revisit that later on. It works for now. I want this up and running, primarily. So these are going to make turbofuel for us, and we already have the fuel, but that's the thing that I forgot to fix. I didn't fix the pipe. How do I deal with that? Actually, that is not that hard to deal with now that I think about it, because I don't really need to do that, because what I'm doing here is basically seeding. It's like kickstarting the pumps in water production. So what I'm doing here is just getting turbofuel up and running so that I can start the generators at the other side. When I have those generators up and running, I can actually start the entire chain here. So yeah, I can just do this and then remove this when I have the pipeline that is carrying turbofuel saturated. I can just remove this again and then connect up all the pipes where they're supposed to go, and finally add more generators for the power that I need for the other things. So yeah, this is a fine temporary solution here, and this one is actually temporary. Imagine that. This also saves me a bit of annoyance in terms of having to find a new way to deal with those pipes. Okay, now let's add these foundations and start adding the pipelines to the refineries. Someone commented that they preferred the other solution, where I was using the this is one of the videos in the former series when I built the original little refinery. That they preferred the other solution, where I used the what are they called? The walk paths, the walkways, and didn't clip the pipes through the foundations. And I do agree, that does look neater, but this is just quicker. And for the purposes of recording, as you've already noticed, getting this up and running in the first place has taken some time. That is, getting all these refineries and stuff up and running. Because I didn't have episode for several days, thanks to this build here. So time is a precious resource when it comes to recording, so whatever is more time efficient, as long as it looks within the let's call it the limitations or whatever, I don't know, within the set of rules that I have made, which of course are arbitrary because they are my rules, then I'm happy with that. So, and this works. I think we need to go 3 out here, which will cause a slight problem in terms of the... because I think I have to go 3 out here as well. And yes, I do. They are too close to one another to get the desired result here. Because I can build them like this, but the thing is the belts are going to clip. So what I have to do is actually build... I have to build them here. That means I need to place down foundations here temporarily. H to hold. Yep, that'll work. And this is going to be on height 12? No, 2, 4, 6. So that actually helps in this as well. No, I didn't mean to do that. Not height 6, height 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But that... 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that mean that this one is connecting to the correct level? It does. Yeah. So that actually does help in terms of placing down the conveyor. No, the stacks of inserters. My brain isn't working. The stacks of splitters and mergers when I do those. Okay, let's move on and do this. And I need to, of course, be careful with where those arrows are. That's wrong. Or is it? No, it isn't. And these can be at the same height. That is not a problem, because the lifts are going to go down on each side, so that's fine. I don't know why it insists on having the... I don't know why it insists on having the input every time it's to the left, and then the next one is to the right when I'm working in this area. I don't know why. It has happened consistently for everything that I've built here. But of course, as Wally pointed out in comment to me earlier today, it would be useful with a similar mod to the foundation mod for the splitter and mergers. Just building them in a tower. So if there are any mod creators out there who feel the call, feel free. I will happily use that. Okay, now I have the necessary ones done. I will add one more, and the reason for that is so that I can have the now it turned the other way. I don't know. I really don't know. I'll just keep this here and remove this because we need to connect the pipes here afterwards. The reason for that is for the what's it called? The my brain really doesn't. Wait. No, it wasn't an error. What is the word I'm looking for? The grid line? Yeah. You all probably know exactly what I mean. The green little lines, the arrows that mean that you are in line with something. I have no idea why I can't remember the word. but that doesn't really matter. Okay, I didn't want to go down there. So I will have a splitter here, and I need to make sure that I get that on the correct level. So here, and 1, 2, 3, and I don't think I want this to be mark 1. That would be very unbeneficial, but I won't connect it to there until... Okay, I need to go to the correct belt. I want to connect it up here before I connect it to the actual line. There. Connecting those is just basically just double clicking when you see the green. And then we connect up to there. Now, I'm not using smart splitters here, so the throughput isn't going to be exactly 100%, but I don't think that it will be a problem. And then we connect up these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now these need power, and before we give them power... Whoa, oh, that was very close. Before we give them power, I first want to do the pipeline connections here. Yeah, that is the correct way. So we have to connect up these. Note that I'm using a glass wall here, so you can actually see inside and see the pipe from when you're using the not subterranean but subfactorian pipe or walkway. Okay, that doesn't really help much better. And this is a bit finicky. But it takes, even with the finickiness, it takes less time than doing the other solution with the walkways behind. But I do think that the walkways look better. And then this, and then the final one. And as I record this, European summertime has ended. And the time is now 2 a.m. again, as it was an hour ago. I always find these time shifts a bit weird. Okay, well, we have the pipeline with the turbofuel connected up, so what we now need to do is to connect the power. Now, when you build these refineries and you need to connect the power, I found that there is one very helpful little detail that I have missed. I've tried to align it to the Fix-It logo there, but it's actually much easier than that, because when you have the refineries standing side by side, if you then align the first refinery so that the little knob here is on that corner of the foundation, or the opposite knob on that corner of the foundation, as you can see here, this would be on the corner of the foundation. The power lines, if you want them to be aligned to the connection up there, is always alternating between being on the cross and then on the middle of the next foundation. So this is the midpoint of the foundation. And then next one is on the cross thing, then the middle, then again the cross, and yeah, that's basically the rule of thumb there. I'm not sure where I'm gonna get the power from here. I have a power pole here. And I don't think that it's a big problem if I pull that out to there. It clips through the belt because it's a Mark II power pole. But, well, I don't really need a Mark II power pole there, do I? No, I don't. Then take this and put one... Oh, this is a not very ideal position for the power poles because this is in the middle of the walkway. Okay, let me rethink that. Where can I place a power pole? Doesn't clip into the belt and doesn't clip... I have to go there then, because I think there... Yeah, that will clip into the belt. That looks silly. I can tolerate to a certain extent the power poles clipping into the belts and the lifts and stuff like that when it's not too... I did not mean to do that. When it's not too excessive, or when it's in an area like between the lifts. You don't really see it when it's in between the lifts in the constructors and assemblers, so that's not a big concern. But when it's in the open areas, that's where I really try to avoid clipping the power lines. I try to avoid clipping at all costs everywhere, to be honest, but it's not a major disaster for minor clipping. And there was a very funny comment, someone who said that they knew a Caledorn who would describe the clipping of the power lines through my lifts as, don't remember the exact word, but basically heresy. Which I can't really argue with that, because yes, I probably would describe it as that. But there are certain times when you have to make sacrifices, and this is one of them. Okay, now we need to use the outermost part here for the pipeline with the turbo fuel. I think I want to go all the way out, so let's just build that there. And when that is there, we are also all the way out here, so 2 back. And I can use conveyor 2D to get a straight corner. And I think that's too far, so let's place this here. And then connect that up to there. And the reason why I need this here is because I need, not from here, but from here, I need to have at least 1 pipe, maybe 2. One of them might actually have to join up with this. They are producing what each? 18.8? I'm producing... how much? I thought I wrote it down somewhere. Let's do a quick calculation here. 300 divided by 18.8 is 15.957. That's useful. So I can connect 15 up to 1 pipeline, because I'm not going to be bothering splicing things here. Well, I probably will, but I have 34 generators, no, 34 refineries making turbo fuel, so if I have 13, I'm going to have 3 pipes. I'm going to need 3 pipes, so that's how that is. Oh, I can get rid of this. But if I have 8 here, and I can have 15 on 1 pipeline, I probably... No, that is not necessary, because I have 13 in each of these, so if I have 2 different pipelines here, it's fine, actually. I just need to calculate how many generators I can actually support with 1 pipeline. Let's do that right now, actually. I have 18.8 being refined in each refinery, and multiplied by 8 we get 150.4. And if I then take 150.4 and divide that by 4.5, I can support 33.42 generators. And yes, this time generator is actually the correct word, and not a mispronunciation or misbrainification of refinery. So this pipeline can support 33 generators. That's not half bad. Let's drag this on, and I'm going to have to do modifications to the pipelines here as well. But before I do that, let's actually see where this pipe support needs to go. Because clearly I can't have the pipes going through one another. That would be intolerable clipping. Oh, it isn't too far. So the first pipeline is the one that's going to be sent into here when I get everything up and running. Now I have built 20 fuel generators. So that means I should be producing 6,000 megawatts. No, 3,000 megawatts should be produced from this line of generators. And now, that's a beautiful red color. I haven't seen that before. This is the first time I've actually made turbofuel. I didn't see the need for making turbofuel in my previous series. This time I definitely see the need. One hint, trains. And also the base is a little bit bigger. Let's run all the way down here. And because... right, no. Yeah. That doesn't work, of course, but I need to run all the way down because we need to start connecting up the pipelines. I want this to be absolutely certain that this is the correct way. That is correct, that is correct. And that is correct. And then going into vertical mode, this should connect to there, and this should connect to there. And then we can do the foundations in the middle. And they started. 4.5 cubic meters per minute. Perfect. And then 1, 2, 3. That's 4, but I think that's correct. And then we connect this up and this up. I don't want to place too many of them because that will complicate my placing of the pipes. But yeah, this foundation mod is just so much of a time saver. And this one goes there, and this one goes there. Wait, that was too far actually. There we go. Okay, so I should probably go with 3 then. I could have done this as well. Or maybe not. Then that one goes there, and that one goes there. And I can do 2, 3, I think. And 3. And 3. This one, and then that one. And again, 3. 3. And 3. This isn't going so badly. The only thing that is a bit weird with the foundation mod is that it is a little bit arbitrary what modifier keys I have to use from time to time. So occasionally I have to test a couple of times before it actually does the right thing. But that little minor nuisance compared to the fact that I don't have to place all the foundations one by one, it's perfectly okay. Imagine that. And then all of the fuel generators are up and running. We have a capacity of 3000 megawatts. Now I could overclock these if I wanted to put in batteries. And I actually think I might overclock them. Because building 140 fuel generators, that's a lot of fuel generators. When I can just overclock these. Which is simply just a better solution. Okay, I'm gonna draw a temporary power line here. And by temporary I also actually mean temporary, because I think that when these are connected up, I'll just build an additional power pole connecting into there. How far out do I have to go? That wire is too long. So let's place it there. And then the next one goes here. And is that too long? Nope. Voila. We should now have 4,000... We do. 5,397. That is a lot better. Yay! So I'll finish up the little, like, fixing that belt and things like that. But not yet, because now I can connect up the outposts and the trains again, and we can have a little journey along the railroad. Now, I'm not going to record connecting up all of the rest of the Turbofuel refineries, nor am I going to record overclocking the generators and then building more of the generators, because every time I have to build a stack of, or a set of generators, it requires going back and forth between the refinery and the base, because to build a set of 10 fuel generators, you need 50 computers, 100 heavy modular frames, 150 motors, 500 rubber, and a stack of 500 Caterium wire. So it takes up a substantial amount of inventory space, which is inconvenient to record. And I think I've shown you the principle now. The mathematics around it, those are a bit more worrisome, because I don't think I can show them to you. I'm going to need beacons and heavy modular frames. I think I put the beacons in here. Yes, I did. The heavy modular frames we can go get up at the factory that's making those, so the manufacturer. I also need to connect the power down here again, because for some reason I seem to have disconnected that. I don't even remember doing that, but because if I go to this power pole, it should be, yeah, it is at 0. So if I connect this one to... it clips. That is unfortunate, but this one is only connecting up to the hypertubes. I think that if I place a power pole here and I do a power line between them, I think that it will clip. Yeah, because the industrial container is so big. Where did I connect up the power to this place? Definitely not here. And I'm pretty certain I didn't connect it up here either, because that just doesn't make sense. And I couldn't have connected it up there. That wouldn't make sense either. I have no clue. But wherever it was, I guess I'll just make a new power pole. Make sure that it's actually connected up this time. And then I can remove that one. Yep. And then if I connect up this to there, all in here should start up again. Yeah, they are shining bright yellow now. That's good. Yeah, I needed the heavy modular frames. Never mind that walkway I've done there. That is also temporary. Let's grab a stack of those. It has become less temporary than I thought it would be, but I need to find a way to be able to walk up there from the middle so that I don't have to run around. What I do need, actually, more than that, is to make a more centralized storage area than what I have there, so that I have everything in one location for when I want to pick things up. And there are many ideas that I've seen about that. There is Total Eclipse has a circular storage facility, but I don't think I want to build that because circular seems slightly cumbersome to me. It looks very cool though. Yeah, as soon as I connected that up, you can see that the power consumption bumped up quite steeply to 3000 from 1400. And it's going down again now, but that was because all of the trains started now. I hope the trains will start up again of their own volition. No, they won't. So that's something that you should also be aware of. When you have lost power, it seems that you have to restart all of the trains. Insert choo-choo name. This is NF2... NFSC crude oil. The train doesn't want to start, it seems. And this one is also NF2SC crude oil. I don't know why the train isn't starting, but I have a sneaking suspicion that the reason is that it's trying to drop off cargo. Have any of the trains started up again? No. There we go. So they have started up. The PAX train that I've been using, that I've actually forgotten, is out there. So what's the deal with this train? It's using power. Okay, so when you're in a train, you can press V to open this. Let's turn off the autopilot and move it backwards. Press V again and turn the autopilot on, and now hopefully this should leave the station. Yep, there we go. Good. So let's build another locomotive, and we'll jump into this, and we will go to the... let's see here, which one do we want to go to first? Let's go to the Northern Forest, to my crude oil outpost up there. Now I have noticed that there is one... Oh, I have the minimap up now. I've noticed that there is one little problem with the roundabout that I'm not sure what the problem is. But when you're coming in from west into the roundabout, the trains that come in from the west, if they are going to the base, the main base that is, they have to take a turn up north, or down south, and go through the silica station and then back down again. I'm not sure what that's about. And this is the same thing. This one doesn't connect up properly. So I might have to take a look at the connections there and try to figure out what the issue is, but I haven't really been that bothered by it because it's working, and it's not a huge problem because I don't have any trains that take that route anyways. So here we're passing by the crude oil outpost that we're using for the aluminium production. And as I've said earlier, I have gotten lazy, so this train line we are driving on now would have crumble to the ground quite extensively because it is not supported by foundations at all. So here's an interesting corner where you can see the it's going off into there and still supports the trains going across it. So that's the entrance to the other station, actually. Okay, dizzy warning for those of you who get easily dizzy or motion sick. This is a good time to not look at the screen, because we are going upwards in a spiral. These spirals are very useful, but they do induce motion sickness, or at least dizziness, even in me. Then again, I am prone to motion sickness. Okay, we're done with the spiral, so now we're in green area, which is rare, except of course for the little Titan Forest outpost, and then the green, pleasant gas in the swamp. This railroad is also floating in midair because I haven't bothered going up here and build foundation supports here either. It just takes too much time. I built this handy little exit, which the train line can continue. So we exit to the outpost that I've built a station for here. And of course this place had all kinds of nasties. There was, I think, at least 2 boss spitters and bees and yeah. But nowhere near the annoyance of the swamp. That's one thing that I can tell you for certain. So what we have here is, I think I've already mentioned this, but this is showing it real time. These clam thingies are rather annoying because I can't remove them. We have a normal node here, which is overclocked to 125%, which means it's producing 150 cubic meters of oil per minute. That means that you can overclock it. I think it's 250% and you'll get a full pipe. That one, I'm having a pump down here. I'm not sure why I have a pump down here. Especially since this one is connected to it as well. Because this one is a normal node as well. So these two are combined into the topmost pipeline. And the other one is a pure node. So that one is also overclocked to 125%, but that gives us... Oh, I've forgotten to overclock this thing. That needs to be fixed. Okay, I need to make a note of that. Oil. F. There we go. Otherwise I probably would forget. Because that is fairly important. So that one, I have a pump there. I should move that pump over here. Do I have a power line? Yeah, let's do that right away, because I don't even know why I have a pump there. Logistics pipeline. Is that pump even necessary? No, it's not. This one doesn't need a pump either. I think I built the pump to avoid the oil from this one going into that pipe, but that doesn't really matter. So I have these going up, and I think that I calculated that I needed 2 pumps, because 4, 8, 12, 16. I might actually not need 2 pumps on this one, but the pumps only use... It's not a big deal, because the pumps only use 4 megawatts of power, but it has a head lift of 20, so it should actually suffice. If that's 2, 4, 6, I mean, 10, 14, 16... Yeah, it should suffice with 1, but I'm not going to take any chances, so I'll just leave it as it is. I can happily provide that 4 or 8 megawatts of power. Okay, let's jump on the train again and take a quick journey down to the main oil refinery outpost. I don't think you have to double click the autopilot there. I think as soon as you exit the screen, the train will start working, because then the new timetable goes into effect. Those two hard drives are very close to one another. There's one there, and the other one is right over there. Ah, here's one of the actual trains with the nice cargo wagons containing oil. The thing with those spirals, and again motion sickness warning, if you get dizzy or motion sick, look away, entering spiral. The thing with these spirals is they are very space efficient in terms of, yes, they take up a 7x7 square, and occasionally you can get some clipping into the mountain or cliffs. But instead of having to build a major contraption, well, this is a major contraption, but instead of having to build a major contraption taking up way more space, this is a very effective way of getting a train up and down on the train lines. I have some clipping through that mushroom, but I really couldn't be bothered, because moving this thing, no. So the train comes into the station like so. This station is rather basic. The pipeline coming out from here, there are two of them. They are just placed between one another. I have them going... what we can... Well, actually, you've seen the other part of this. Let's leave the train standing there, because I don't want to go too far away. You can walk on the pipes. And then those pipelines, there is no need for pumps, because everything is falling or going downwards, so that's useful by having it up here. But I do have pumps down there to make sure that they get 20 meters lift to ensure that they come into the refinery. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this setup as well. And I did spend the additional extra time to make sure that the station, at least, that goes for both of these stations that I've now shown. But the stations do have the logic of support. Yeah, so the double clicking is unnecessary. And then the train exits this way again, and I have this interesting contraption of foundations down there. Spiral incoming. And this is where, when we are done with the spiral, this is where we'll see the exit point to this. Isn't that... it's quite familiar. It's exactly the same as in Factorio. And spiral is done. So this took time. And most of this was built before I found that foundation mod. As a matter of fact, all of it was built before I found that foundation mod, so all of the foundations on this train line have been placed down manually, one by one. And I'm very, very grateful that I did find that foundation mod for that very reason, because I'm going to have to build more train lines, so yes. Now you're going to see an example of what I mean by the connection on this side of the roundabout. I'm not really sure what's going on here. It looks okay, but this is what happens. It can't go into there. So I suspect that I might have connected it to the wrong endpoint on the rails. So we're going to have a little detour through the silica outpost. I have the same type of exit and not intro. Well, you guys know what I mean. The same type as we use in Factorio. It works quite nicely. I guess it's a universal connection thing. So now the train will take us down to the main base again. That railroad that I haven't built, I've just built the foundations. That was built way before I started going that way. That goes to some pure nodes of iron and copper, and the Caterium wire that we're building or manufacturing up on that outpost is actually going to be... Oh, that lift isn't correct. I just noticed now. We are going to need that Caterium wire, but I'm not sure if I want to use it here in the base or if I want to use it outside. But the one thing that I do know is that it would definitely be more useful or simple to use it in the base rather than using it outside, because the train line built there is not at all built in a manner which allows this train to leave without having to build another loop at the bottom of those hills or inclines over there. Of course, that is not a big problem to do, but the exit comes in on the direction that goes this way, so I can't just have that go up, because that would crash with the... Oh, there's a train incoming. But of course you can't be run over by trains here yet, which will probably be quite funny when that happens. I have been terrified about being run over by trains in this game, based on my experience in Factorio, of course. Then I discovered that, oh, you can't be. They just go right through you and they go through one another. I can build that thing over there and make an outposted production. I don't remember exactly what we needed the Caterium wire for. I don't... Why do I keep calling it Caterium wire? Quick wire. I don't know if we can see the recipe. No, we can't see the recipes it's used in. So that's one of the advantages of using an online calculator, is that you can actually see the recipes it's used in. Let's have a look at that on the Satisfactory tools, where I have the codex, and we go to the item browser. Of course, you just see my mouse moving randomly around. Quick wire. Okay, so yeah, the quick wire is definitely going to be necessary in the Caterium computer recipe. It is also going to be necessary in the high-speed connector recipe, whether or not I use the basic recipe or the alternate one. The alternate one uses silicone instead of cable. I do have spare raw quartz, but I'm not sure if I want to use quartz instead of using copper for high-speed connectors. It is also used for the iodine-infused filters that we need for the hazmat suit when we are going to do nuclear. It is used in the basic recipe for AI limiters, and there doesn't appear... I don't know if there is an alternate recipe for AI limiters. Is there? No. So it is necessary for AI limiters, and it is also necessary in the Caterium circuit board, but I think we'll... Is that a good recipe? Let me check that. Circuit board... I can't remember. Circuit board, circuit board, circuit board, where are you? Circuit board, Caterium circuit board. Yeah, no, it's the... well, yeah, the Caterium circuit board is good. But the silicone one is more valuable in the long run. But the Caterium circuit board, if you don't have the silicone circuit board and you don't want to go fetch more hard drives to get it, it is actually an A-tier. Not a tire. An A-tier. Brain. A-tier. Woohoo! Huzzah! Yuck! A-tier recipe, whereas the silicone circuit board, which is the one that we're using, is an S-tier recipe because it has one less extra steps, it has 167% speed per space, and yeah, it's just better. It has a relative productivity that is unweighted of 212.12%, whereas the... no, it has 774.83%, whereas the Caterium one has 212.12%. But the relative productivity, which is weighted, is higher for the silicone one over the Caterium one. If you're interested in the numbers, please do go check the Satisfactory alternate recipe analysis on the Google Docs. You'll find it there. I've mentioned it before in my previous series where I went through a lot of recipes. For now, however, I think we have reached a point where it is time to end this episode. I will connect up the rest of the power, and I might record... No, it's not necessary. I'll connect up the rest of the power and the pipelines. I'll fix the pipelines. You guys know how to do pipelines by now. So basically I'm just going to disconnect the pipe that I sent into those fuel generators. Or rather the pipe that I sent with fuel into the turbofuel generators, and I'll fix those pipes so that they are correct. And I'll do the same with the pipeline for the generators as well, now that I consider it, because I have to have 3 lines of fuel generators. I'll do some overclocking, and I'll go out and fix that oil node that I haven't overclocked. And I'll prepare the rest of the stuff for the other part of the refinery, which several of you are probably acutely aware of what I'm going to do there, but for those of you who are not, it's a surprise. So, if you have any questions or comments, or you just want to complain bitterly about something, like floating train lines without support beams, although if you want to complain about that, that's one thing that I can actually answer right away. I don't care. That goes for the clipping power lines inside of my factory as well. I know it's heresy, and I agree that it's heresy, but I don't care. Time efficiency and all that. So yeah, please do leave comments and questions and complaints in the comments section, or as always, as I always mention, you can also come join us in the Discord. You'll find the link to the Discord server in the description of this video. But for now, thank you all so very much for joining me, and I hope that I managed to convey some information, some wisdom, some knowledge through this video. So, see you all next time.